Welcome to this week's edition of the Snakebite. We have a ton to cover, especially from both basketball teams. Couldn't be more excited, but first, let's roll that intro. The number 19 Florida Southern men's basketball team kicked off action this past weekend against Auburn Montgomery, the team the Mocs were looking to get their first win against in program history, and they didn't waste any time against the Warhawks, striking first and not looking back as they scored from all three levels. In this one, the Mocs led early and often, with the Mocs leading for all but 26 seconds of the game, in great part due to two-way play from everyone. 𝙏𝙃𝙀 was one of those contributors with his monster first half, picking pockets to snag 5 steals in the first half to pair with his 2 blocks and 14 points in the game. But we can't talk about the win over Auburn Montgomery without talking about the Moc with a career game, Donovan 𝙏𝙃𝙀 Smith, who scored a career and team high 24 points in just 16 minutes, going 8 for 12 from three-point land. Alex Steen also had a night surprise, as he was just a rebound away from tying his career high, as he had 17 points and 16 boards in 22 minutes as the Mocs won 109-79. Then the Mocs didn't have much time to celebrate, as the very next day they had the task of taking on a fast-paced, strong rebounding Savannah State squad that gave the Mocs a run for their money late. But first, it was all Mocs, with Florida Southern leading for all but 10 seconds of the first half, thanks to major contributions by the forward duo of Alex Steen and 𝙏𝙃𝙀𝙀, who both had double-digit points and 2 blocks each in the first half. They weren't the only contributors, though, with every Moc who made an appearance in the first half scoring and the team going 10 for 13 from 3. But Jacob, the second half was a completely different story.
Carl, it sure was. You know what they say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. The second half was defined by Savannah State's pressure on the press and ability to force offensive errors by the Mocs to come back from the 19-point halftime deficit. Eventually, the Mocs found themselves down in the final minutes of the game, but thanks to tremendous free throw shooting from Jaden Booth and the Mocs continuing to crash the boards, they regained the lead from the Tigers with 2:44 left, and Florida Southern did everything to keep Savannah State just out of arm's reach. And in this one, especially down the stretch, Alex Steen continued to cement himself as one of the best two-way players in all of Division II, putting on a show with a career-high 29 points to pair with his 11 rebounds, 7 on the offensive glass, and 4 blocks en route to repeating as SSC Defensive Player of the Week. One of those blocks was this game-sealing block right at the end of the 97-94 nail-biter. Florida Southern will return to action and kick off SSC play tonight against Eckerd at the George Jenkins Fieldhouse. You can find the stream on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Women's basketball had more than an exciting weekend, too, making a historic comeback against the University of Alabama Huntsville. At the end of the first quarter, things remained close after Ariana Bracero opened up scoring with a 3-point shot on the Mocs' opening possession, but both teams shared jabs as the quarter progressed, with Huntsville showing notably strong 3-point shooting that they would continue through the second quarter. Once the second began, the Mocs faded, losing all offensive success they saw in the first quarter, while the Chargers continued their onslaught of threes, going 8 for 20 in the first half and having a dominant 26-10 second quarter over FSC. Halftime couldn't have come sooner for the Mocs as they looked to regroup, and it took a little bit as they fell down 26 points with just 4 minutes left in the third quarter, but after that, they did something unbelievable. The Mocs began to click on both sides of the ball, with Bra'Jah Washington having a career half, scoring 10 points in just the second half, while exerting tremendous defensive pressure to keep the Mocs in it. Florida Southern continued to whittle down the lead of Huntsville with a defensive and offensive attack best described as controlled aggression, attacking the ball handler when necessary on the defensive end, rebounding or creating a turnover, then storming to the paint to either score or find an open teammate. Sydney Gomes was the leader of this effort, with second-half stats that included 9 points, 5 assists, 3 steals, and a block. The game finally got within reach because of their press, with the likes of Washington and Gomes scoring, but Lily Rangard helped close the gap and put the final nails in the coffin, knocking down tough jumpers and late free throws in the Mocs' unbelievable 74-70 point game. Sydney Gomes' show didn't end after the first game. She just kept rolling.
She more than kept it rolling as she was yet again the heart of the Mocs offense in the matchup against receiving votes Lee University, as she dropped a career-high 25 points to pair with 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Unfortunately for Florida Southern, they were missing contributions from the supporting cast, as Gomes had 11 of the team's 17 points at halftime. Yes, you heard me correct. 17 points at half as Lee dominated the first half, holding the Mocs to single digits in both the first and second quarters of play. The second half was a different story yet again, as the Mocs looked similar to how they looked against Huntsville the day prior, outscoring Lee in both the third and fourth quarters. Despite the team's strong 41 points resurgence in the second half and outscoring Lee by 16, it was too little too late as they fell to the Flames 71-58. The Mocs have a chance to rally as they take on the new-look Eckerd College Tritons tonight at 5:30 at the George Jenkins Fieldhouse. And if you can't get there in time, tune in on SSC Digital Network.
The Mocs volleyball team once again split this past weekend with a 3-1 victory over PBA and a 3-0 loss against number 17 Lynn University. On Saturday, sophomore setter Mary-Kate Mulvaney was the star of the show with an impressive team-best 31 assists and surpassing the 1,000 career assist mark. Madison Fowler also showed out in the victory with 18 kills and 8 blocks. Unfortunately, the Mocs couldn't keep the momentum going as they were completely shut out by Lynn on Saturday. They took on reigning national champs number 9 Tampa away during our production time and will continue their road trip against St. Leo tonight before heading to Miami Shores Saturday for a face-off against number 23 Barry. Oh, and you can't forget about them finally returning home Tuesday against St. Leo. I need to grab my inhaler. That's getting me out of breath already.
The women's soccer team fought well in a tough matchup this past Wednesday as they took on Rollins College at home. The game was action-packed from the start, with Rollins scoring in the 6th minute of play. This is the only goal in the first half, with freshman goalkeeper Lily O'Neill making 2 saves to keep the Mocs in the game. In the second half, the Mocs came out swinging, scoring 2 goals in 5 minutes. The first was by Jasmine Adames in the 74th, and the second by leading goal scorer Ashley Schimberg off of an assist by Morgan Elliott. Despite the Mocs finding the back of the net twice, Rollins was able to tie it up with just 1:20 left in the game, and this marked the final SSC game for the FSC season, and it's not over yet as they take on Edward Waters University right now during our production time in their final game of the year. For results, make sure to go check out fscmocs.com.
The men's soccer team saw their season come to a close last week after a 2-0 loss to Eckerd College. The Mocs finished the year with a record of 3-7-4 in a year with trials in conference play, as they finished last in the conference with the SSC record of 1-7-2. The bright spot of conference play for the Mocs was near the end in their win over Tampa, who was playing number 1 Lynn in the conference semifinals, and tying second in conference Rollins, who was playing Barry in the semifinals. The SSC contributed to all 7 of the Mocs' losses, but outside of conference play, the Mocs were undefeated. By far the MVP of the season for Florida Southern was striker Darcy Moffitt, who we got to talk to earlier this year, as he netted 9 goals throughout the season, the 3rd best mark in the conference to pair with his 19 shots on goal, which was also 3rd best.
The Mocs hockey team took the ice against the University of Florida Gators this past weekend in a 2-game homestand where the Mocs fought hard in a tight battle. It came down to the wire in the 3rd period as the Mocs attempted to stage a comeback before a penalty call sealed the win for the Gators 5-4. Will Marshall, Michael Wohl, and Colton Wyden all found the back of the net in the loss. The Mocs struggled defensively in the second game of the series, giving up 16 goals while only scoring 3, with Michael Wohl and Colton Wyden being the lone goal scorers. The Mocs will face off against the University of Miami this weekend in a 2-game series, with Friday's matchup having huge playoff implications. Come out and support your Mocs as they face the Miami Hurricanes at the Lakeland Ice Arena.
And both cross-country teams made their way up to the South Regional Championships this past weekend and had an unfortunate showing, with neither team making it to nationals, as the men placed 4th and the women placed 5th. It wasn't all bad, though, as Christian Giller showed out yet again, shattering program records for the cross-country 10K as he completed the 6.25-mile race in 30 minutes and 38 seconds, securing an individual spot to nationals as the 2nd overall finisher at the regional competition. Christopher Colavita placed 15th overall and Cole Summers placed 21st, both earning all-region honors. And for the women, it was a tough day as well, but senior Maya Stam still made the most of it, placing 22nd overall and also receiving all-region honors. And that's it for this week's edition of the Snakebite. A lot's going to happen this week. Men's basketball facing off against Eckerd, women's basketball facing off against Eckerd. A lot of conference play. Some seasons are ending, but a lot more are ramping up right now. Make sure you stay tuned here on the Snakebite.